Hello, fish peoples. Uh, I want to do a really long-term review of this CPR continuous siphon overflow. I've had it a long time. Uh, I'd say going on like 10 years. Excuse me. So, what I had was a bunch of freshwater, the fish tanks in this room, and I got the saltwater bug, and I said, "Oh, I've got to have saltwater." Little did I know what I was getting into. And it's common in saltwater to have a sump. It isn't necessary, I've learned, but it's common. Uh, so I wanted to convert these tanks to tanks with sumps. And there's two or three ways to do that. And let me say from the beginning, if you can buy a drilled tank or you're confident enough to drill your own tank, go with an overflow, built-in overflow. Save yourself. Go with a built-in overflow. These things work. I'm not saying they don't work, but they are a lot of work and they are prone to failure. Now, just a quick review. So the return pump in the sump is forcing water into this tank. It's going into this weir box here. You see it flows into this weir box. All right, so that pushes the water up. And this, I use a power head, and we'll talk about that in a minute, is continuously siphoning water and air out, which causes the water to flow up and over as a siphon goes down, comes back up, and then goes back and returns to the sump. So it's a marvelous piece of engineering, and it works great, but there are things that can happen. And over the years, by far, the number one failure mechanism of this is this little nozzle here gets stopped up. When this gets stopped up, it's no longer pulling water and air out. So eventually the air starts accumulating, and when it accumulates to this point here, you're no longer siphoning. Now, your return pump doesn't know that, so it's going to keep pumping water into here, and it's just going to come up like this and overflow. And I'll show you in a minute how you can prevent that, okay? So, if you want one of these, and they do work, keep this nozzle clean and keep this siphon line clean. The number one to failure is that nozzle gets stopped up. Number two failure is this line, this piece of tubing gets stopped up, okay? Now, you've got to have some kind of siphon going on here at all times. They used to sell the Tom Aqua Lifter that is set right here. Worked great, but it had its issues as well. It's very hard to clean. It got stopped up all the time, blah, blah, blah. And over the years, I have found this is an AquaClear 30 power head. It's got a little hole there, right, which is the venturi. So it's shooting water that direction and sucking this direction, right? And these pumps have been around a really long time. They're extremely reliable. They're very quiet and they're very reliable, which is what you need on something like this. You need something very reliable because you don't want to have an overflow. It'll make an absolute wreck. Okay? So, how can you protect yourself from an overflow? Well, daily visual inspection is my number one thing I do. I look here every day. I got I got four of these things. I look at all four of them every day to make sure there's no air accumulating in here. If there is, I shut it down. I pull this off. I got a little thin brush and I go inky, 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 and get the muck out of here. Okay. Then I take this out, take it to the sink and clean it if needed. Then I start the system back up again. Okay. So that's your failure mechanism. If you're going to have one, it's going to be right here. Now, as you can see, this thing accumulates muck and algae really bad, right? So the algae starts growing there. It goes all the way around. And eventually you have to clean that out of there. It just gets so much, it will impede your water flow. And these are not easy to clean. I take them off, take them to a setup, run bleached water through them for like 24 hours. At the same time, I got to have another one to put here because I got to keep the tank running. So cleaning these is really, really a pain in the ass. You don't have to do it very often. I'd say once a year would do it. And so those are the issues. And let me show you how I prevent a. Okay, this little thing right here, this is in the sump. This is in the chamber where the return pump is. That's an auto aqua water level, the sensor. So if something should happen to the overflow, this was going to pump water out of here, and when it gets slightly below that, everything is plugged into it over here, and it will shut the whole system down, and that will keep me from flooding the house. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on it. Like I said, if you can have a drilled tank, you should, because it really makes life a lot easier. All right, see you later.